The following broadcast is a presentation of Mount Zion Media Ministry.
From those verses, I want to preach from the subject today. The dream is God's. The dream is God's. But the work on the dream is ours. And I'm tailoring this a lot for the young folk today, but for all of us. But I want to say to the young folk that the dream, it belongs to God. It is His. But God has given us a work to do to make that dream a reality. And for those of you that have not been around Mount Zion the past couple of weeks, we ended the new year in our morning worship on New Year's Eve and New Year's night under the theme, Dreaming Big Dreams. In those messages, I tried to inspire you, encourage you to go to God and ask Him for vision for your life. And not just some small vision, not your own vision, but a God vision. Because if it's yours, it's going to be too small. But we need a God-sized vision to do stuff that's bigger than anybody has ever done in your family. To do stuff that defies your background, defies the neighborhood you come from. And our reason for desiring that kind of dream, that kind of vision, was not to make a name for ourselves, but so that we could be in partnership with God to bring His will to pass in the earth. How many of you know that God has a plan? God is not trying to make up a plan. God has had a plan from the foundation of the world. And the good news is you and I get to partner with Him in the execution of that dream. Let me say that again. You and I get to partner with Almighty God for the execution of the dream or vision He gives us. Make it simple, Pastor Simmons. God comes along beside us and invites us to join Him, and then God works in us, on us, and through us to make that dream become a reality. Hear me, if God gives the dream, the outcome for that dream belongs to Him. And there is no shortage in God's ability to do what He set out to do. I'm here to tell you, God still got all power in His hand. I am here to tell you that God is not limited or bound by the laws of nature. If God wants to, God can still turn water into wine. If God wants to, God can still call us to get out of boats and walk on the water. God still speaks to demons and they tremble. God still takes a boy who was destined to be killed as a baby, put in a boat that his mama made up, and left on the sea to see what would happen. And God can still make the person who intended to kill the boy, raise the boy, feed the boy, sleep the boy, and then that same boy come back and bring your kingdom down, because there's no shortage in God. But here it is. Here it is. The problem may come because we don't do our part. You see, it's one thing to have vision, to have a dream, but it's another thing to work to make it happen. Some of us saints are a little lazy. We sit back and we think that when God gives it, and because it belongs to Him and the outcome is His, then we can just sit down and do nothing. The stuff will just drop in our lap. And I need to tell you that there are times when God favors you and me and just gives us a blessing. just opens a door. God just wake up and say, here. If we didn't have company, I say it like we said in Cairo. God said, here. Take that. Here's a blessing. God will just drop stuff on you. But hear me, there are also, though, some opportunities, some things that God want to do through us that you and I got to put in our effort, our work, in order for it to be accomplished. I'm not talking about salvation. God don't need your help to save yourself. But what he does need is our cooperation to help us fulfill these dreams that he talked about. In the story of Joseph that I told you I want to do a little different with today, God gave Joseph a dream. It was a two-part dream. First part, Joseph said, I went to sleep and God showed me a vision. And in the vision, my 11 brothers were bowing down to me. Strange dream, because in the line of sons, Joseph was number 11. He's the knee baby boy. And in the order of the culture, the oldest son takes authority in the absence of the father over all of the family. And it comes down to the line, 10 people had to die before Joseph could become the person in charge. But Joseph says, I saw a dream, and all of you were bowing down to me. And then, brothers and sisters, he went to sleep and said, I also saw mama and daddy bowing down to me. And so, brothers and sisters, this is a phenomenal dream. He sees himself as a great leader. But guess what? The dream came when he was 17. And guess what? When the dream came, Joseph was not ready for the dream. God was ready. God could have made him leader right then. However, Joseph needed some work to get ready. And what you see, starting at age 17 and age 30, which is the time that Joseph became the leader over Egypt and the world at that time, is some work that God was doing on Joseph, in Joseph, with Joseph, and Joseph was doing the work to make it possible, to get him ready. And when I read the verses, when I read the chapters, when I read the story, let me show you the work that I saw Joseph go through and suggest that you and I need to go through the same work. First of all, I told you he was 17 and he was not ready. And so what do you see between the giving of the dream and the realization of the dream is Joseph going through a series of tests and trial to prepare him in the area of character. Can I tell you that our work, the work that is ours in the fulfillment of the dream, is to work on our character. And God will help us. Character is who you are. Character describes things about you like whether or not you have integrity, whether or not you value other people and how you value other people, how you treat other people. Character, how you handle failure, how you handle success, how you see yourself, your own self-awareness, what you believe, what you will stand for, what you will fight for, what you live for, what you will die for. All of that is a part of character development. And Joseph had to have character because, check this out, if you mess around and get a promotion to a higher level, but you don't have the character to sustain you at that level, you're going to lose what you got. You're going to mess up where you are, and it's not necessarily because you couldn't do it, but you didn't have the character to maintain it. Let me see if I can help you, and I'm going from real simple all the way to the top. See, you can give a person an excellent job tomorrow, making good money, excellent title, but they don't have character. So they're not going to show up on time. And when they show up, when they finally show up, they're going to stay on break too long. They're going to be stealing from the man. The man your employer going to be looking for stuff, and it's in your bag, it's in your car, it's at your house, and you know it's not yours. And God forbid you handling other folk money. Marilyn, you got to be careful who you put on the cash register. Got to be careful who handles the treasury. You mess around and get a promotion, and you start treating people like they dirt. You forget you dirt too. And so it's a character issue, and we see it. We see it in politicians who get elected to office, and it's not that they don't know how to legislate, their character won't hold them. And we've discovered that you can be elected to the office, to the highest office in the land, and still don't have character. And you lower the standards of the office because you ain't got no character. An office that has been dignified has been lowered to the lowest level. Because we don't have character. And you and I have to develop character. And hear me, young people, hear me, older people, character matters most. Because if the character is not there, and that's what the Bible talks about, if you don't have love, if the character is not there, you can have all the gifts, all the skills, all the talent, and you won't be able to go as far as you could have gone. There's some doors that will be closed in your face, and it's the character that mess you up. I don't know why they won't let me. I know what it is. In Albany, it ain't what you know, it's who you know. No, it's who know you. And what they know or think they know about you. I got your sister, Roy. I'm going to do my best up in here today. So he had to work on his character. And here it is. When God gets ready to work on your character, he's not sending you to a class, character 101. But God will put you in life classes. Because character is really built in times of testing. You don't build strong character when life is easy and you're just going through, but it's when you've been tested. When you're in a dysfunctional family and your own family sell you out, that's when character is developed. How you learn to handle that. When you get a job, and it's not a real job, but your brother sold you as a slave and you end up in a foreign country and a man buys you and you become the servant in his house. And then he puts you in charge of everything, and so you are handling all of his affairs, and that's a level of success for a slave that most slaves don't achieve. But now you in charge of everything. How you going to handle it? When he don't know whether he got $100 or $10, but it's up to you to make sure he get it all. How much you going to give him? When you go to the market to sell the cows, he don't know how many cows he got. All he knows is what you tell him. So are you going to tell him the truth? You going to sell 20 and tell him you sold 15? And then here it is. Potiphar put him in charge and elevated him because Potiphar saw that God's favor was on him and everything he touched turned to gold. Potiphar saw favor, but Potiphar had a wife. And she saw a fine brother. And so she didn't want his favor, she wanted his body. And so when the man who trusted him with everything, when his wife came at him, how did he handle that? His character showed. He said to Miss Potiphar, your husband has left everything in my charge. He don't worry about anything in the house. He gave me everything but you. And I'm sorry, Sister Potiphar, but I don't want you. And there's something about a rejected woman that you need to stay away from. And so then when he tries to break away, she's pulling on him and she's pulling on him, and he's so determined to get away, he runs out of his coat. And then this rejected woman look at my husband. The Hebrew tried to rape me. And he ends up in jail on a false charge. Character tests, character building. You're in jail for a crime you didn't commit. And then you get in jail and you experience success again because the warden sees favor on you and he puts you in charge of the prison and go to the house. See, our character is tested when we on the bottom and the top. And there's some of us can handle the bottom, but we hard to get along with when we get on top. What? Young folk, help me out. Nobody didn't want me when I was, and now I'm on top. Well, I got a little twisted. We could handle you when you were on the bottom, but now you're on top. We ain't studying you because you're too hard to get along with. And I have kept you too long on the character, but I wanted to stay there because nothing else matters if you don't have character. So the next thing is that speed up a little bit. Mr. Joseph was going to lead the nation of Egypt, as we see in the verses I read. It says that he had become Lord over Pharaoh. That means Pharaoh trusted in the wisdom of Joseph, and that Joseph had been put in charge of all of the commerce, all the trade, everything that happened politically, economically. Joseph was the leader of it. That requires skill. A skill he didn't have at 17. And so he had to have some work to get ready for his promotion, for his elevation. And so guess what? His first managerial assignment to start learning skills was at home. And children and parents, hear me, if you don't start teaching stuff folk at home, don't expect your children to get grown and know how to act. See, the first place, as a child, I ought to be responsible for the management of my room if I got one. And if I'm sharing it with other people, I learn teamwork because we share that together. See, in my house, I had, my mama and dad had 12 children. And so all the boys, 6 boys in a room, 5 girls in a room, 1 died. And so the boys were responsible for the management of that room. And we had to learn how to do that together. I didn't just get grown. And those of you who are old enough to have had that same experience, you had to clean up, you had to wash dishes, you had to be responsible for your own stuff. And those of you that got children now and you don't make them responsible for their own stuff, let me tell you, you're setting them up for a hard lesson in life, because somewhere down the road there's going to be responsibility and accountability, and that starts at home. And then here's where the next one came, when he became manager of Potiphar's house. Think about that now. He just in charge of one man's little business. But there are skills that he learned managing Potiphar's house that helped him when he became leader of all of Egypt. So he was faithful in Potiphar's house. Can I tell you, if you can't be faithful over that little small job you got right now, without looking for greener pastures and thinking about elevation and coming, I don't do this beneath me. I don't know why they don't elevate me. I don't know why they don't promote me. I'm better than so-and-so. I need to be on top. Be faithful where you are. And then, and he was faithful there. And then I tell you, when he got in prison, again, elevation. He moved from being over a house to being over the whole prison. And again, learning skills and developing skills to be able to do what it is he want to do. Come close to me. What is your dream? What is the vision? Do you have the skill set to handle it? You got to work at developing the skill set to handle it. Some of you, for example, your dream includes finances, your personal finances, and maybe a business. And you want to do that, but you don't know the first thing about finances. You don't understand money. That's why you're broke. You don't understand money. That's why your credit bad. Your credit ain't bad because you just don't pay your bills. It starts with an understanding. and responsibility and accountability. I want a business. You can't write a business plan. You don't know the first thing about customer service. And that's why most businesses fail. You don't treat your customers right. Treat me right, I'll come back every day. See that young man there, let me embarrass him. Took him to Austin, Texas. He'd been to Target, he'd been to Walmart. He'd been around a little store, but we messed around. Was that Nordstrom or Neiman Marcus we took him in? We took him in Neiman Marcus. He experienced a whole nother level of customer service. He got him a garment out of there. And I wish you could have seen how they were treating him as he tried it on. And he just looked at us and said, Pastor Simmons, I sure like this right here. And then Pastor Clark took him to a 5-star restaurant. Smith and McCormick, I think it was. And he was getting ready to order hamburgers and French fries. Clark said, you ain't at McDonald's. I didn't bring you all the way here for hamburger and French fries. And then he showed him how to order. You know, you understand, and the service. And so it's a whole nother level. You want to be a baller, but you ain't got baller mentality. And so you gotta start working to develop the skills. And the most important skill is how you treat people. I ride all the way to Preston to eat at Mom's Kitchen, and I'm gonna tell you the food good now, but the customer service, the way they treat you, the way they talk to me, the food just tastes better. I feel like I'm somebody when I'm sitting up in there. I feel like I'm somebody. And so I don't mind driving 50 miles when I could drive 5 minutes to eat, but the experience, because of the skill set of the people, makes a difference. And I'm taking too long, so I'm getting ready to cut across the field now. So y'all come on, go with me. And so you got to have skills, and you got to grow, and you got to work at developing the skill set. And some of us think just because we got a calling that it's done. And then after working on that character and after working on the skill set, there's something else. See, there's this thing called skill that we can learn, that we can develop. But then there's something that you can't learn. It's called gift. And you have to discover and develop your gift. You see, you know what? I don't care how much I practice. I don't care who I get to help me. I will never sing like Sister Freeman. I mean, that's just not going to happen. Because while there's skill in that, there's also gift. And there's character, because the thing that drew me into her more than her singing was her humility. It was the spirit of humility. Because I promise you, as gifted as she is, if I hadn't seen the spirit of humility, she wouldn't be here this morning. I don't deal with arrogant folk. And so so here it is. And so Joseph discovered his gift, and he developed it. And guess where he discovered it at? In jail. What you say? While he was in jail, the butler and the baker had a dream, and they were confused because nobody could interpret the dream. And while they were going around, Joseph said, "Oh, I can tell you what that means." And he interpreted the dream, and so he discovered that he had the gift of interpreting dreams, and he started doing that. And God had given him wisdom as he gave guidance to people, and he started developing this gift of counsel through the wisdom of God. He discovered it in the jailhouse, but it was preparation for what's coming next. And as I speed up, and so he discovered that gift and he developed it. What is your gift? What is your gift? I drive Diane crazy because my gift is preaching. And so I work on developing that. And so throughout my house, at any given moment, I just might break out and just start talking and preaching to myself. Because I be practicing. I be working on it. I've been doing this 35 years and I still don't have it right. And so I be practicing. And so she'll say to me, are you talking to me this time or are you talking to somebody else? And I said, I'm not talking to you this time. And so she just go in another room and she just let me have my way. And I'm telling you, I'm just working on the gift. And then sometime I'm riding down the road and some of you have pulled up beside me. As you see my mouth just going, my head in the air, and y'all think I'm singing or think I lost my mind. I am practicing and perfecting my gift. You see, I have to practice 2 or 3 different ways because I got a Mount Zion technique. And so I practice and perfect that. Then when I go off and I have to do a little something else, I got to perfect that. And so I work on that. I work on my gifts. You working on yours? Do you even know what it is? And so here it is. Here it is. And so Pharaoh has a dream. He got all these people on his payroll to interpret his dream and to give him counsel, but nobody can. And then the butler that was blessed by Joseph to interpret the dream, 2 years passed, and he said, Mr. Pharaoh, I know you're mad because nobody on the payroll can interpret your dream, but I remember now, when I was in jail, that there was this young fella there who could interpret dreams. He told me to remember him, but like most folk, I forgot him when I got out. But I think if you call him, he can do it. And so he called Joseph and said, Joseph, had a dream. Can you tell me? He said, I can't tell you, but God is the interpreter of dreams. And Joseph interpreted the dream, gave him wisdom, 7 years of famine, 7 years of plenty, preparing the future, and gave him counsel. And said, you need to put your man in charge. And Pharaoh said, who in my whole kingdom is wiser than you? You are the man. And he was elevated to the position that God had destined when he was 17. And now he's 30 years old. And all of that was how we got to the text. And here it is. And so now Joseph is there, and he's facing the past. He's facing his brothers, and they are facing him. And Joseph says something that is the last thing I want to say. And that is, you got to learn to see things through God's eyes. Joseph's brothers came to him from human eyes. Once they discovered who Joseph was, they were frightened and afraid. Because from a human point of view, when somebody has treated you like they treated Joseph, then you're supposed to get payback. Can I get a witness? You're supposed to get back. But Joseph, who's in the power to get them, does not get them.
Thanks for watching. Be blessed and continue walking in the light.